Most people think the biggest risk in early retirement is running out of money, and that fear makes sense. It's also the wrong place to look, because the real danger is whether you survive those first 5 years without quietly damaging the rest of your retirement. Because if you make it through those first 5 years the right way, the odds that your plan holds together go up dramatically. And if you don't, small decisions made under pressure can turn into permanent problems you can never fully undo. In video 1, we talked about how early retirement feels fragile once the paycheck stops. And in video 2, we showed how one permanent decision, Social Security timing, can lock in risk far earlier than people realize. And today, we're going to connect those ideas. We're going to explain why the first 5 years are the danger zone for early retirees, financially, emotionally, and structurally. Quick context. We're in our first months of early retirement and doing some travel, so you might hear some birds or a scooter driving by. And our filming location does look a little different right now. But the decisions that we're talking about today apply whether you're at home or you're on the road. Now, there's nothing magical about the number 5. It's not a superstition. It's a pattern that shows up again and again in real retirement data. In study after study, people who make it past their first several years without serious financial stress tend to stay stable for decades. People who struggle early rarely recover fully. Why? Because the first 5 years are when 3 powerful forces collide: market behavior, spending reality, and human psychology. Before retirement, these forces are dampened by income. After retirement, they hit all at once. Your portfolio is no longer a long-term project, it becomes your paycheck. Every withdrawal becomes real, every market drop feels personal, and every unexpected bill feels heavier. Those first years are when people learn what retirement really feels like. That learning curve is where most mistakes happen. One of the most overlooked truths about retirement is that spending is not smooth. Researchers at the Bureau of Labor Statistics and multiple retirement research centers have shown that spending fluctuates widely in the first several years after retirement. People often spend more at first. They travel, they fix things they have postponed, they replace old cars, they upgrade health coverage, and they finally buy things that they delayed during their working years. Then spending often drops. But later, healthcare costs rise again. The point is this, is that your average retirement spending does not exist in the first 5 years. It is unstable. Yet many people lock in permanent financial decisions during the most unstable phase. And that mismatch is dangerous. Most people think that sequence risk means bad markets early, and that's only half the story. The real risk comes from what people do when the markets drop while they're newly retired. Before retirement, a market drop is an abstract number on a screen. After retirement, it affects the money that pays your bills. Studies from Vanguard, Morningstar, and Fidelity all show the same thing. People who panic early lock in losses that permanently reduce their future. People who stay calm rarely do. The problem is that calm is the hardest thing to do during the first few years. You have no experience yet with markets while retired. You don't know how it will feel. You don't know how long downturns will last, and you don't know whether your plan is strong enough. That uncertainty creates pressure. Pressure changes behavior, and behavior, not the math, breaks your plans. And healthcare is the single largest unknown for most early retirees. Not just the cost, the rules. Plans change, subsidies change, premiums change, and out-of-pocket costs change. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, individual ACA premiums have risen faster than general inflation in many states. Out-of-pocket premiums can exceed $9,000 per person. Those numbers matter more when you no longer have employer coverage. And during the first 5 years, most retirees do not yet know what their healthcare costs will be. They're still learning how often they use the care. They are still navigating insurance rules, and they are still seeing how premiums change year to year. So locking in major financial decisions during this uncertainty creates risk. Waiting gives you information, and information reduces mistakes. People often think their portfolio is their safety net. It isn't. Flexibility is. The ability to adjust your spending, to change withdrawal rates, and to delay income, respond to markets, and adapt to healthcare changes. That flexibility is highest in the first few years. After that, your options narrow. Social Security starts, required minimum distributions begin, taxes change, and health issues appear. The early years are when you still have room to maneuver. And that's why permanent decisions during this period are so dangerous. Most early retirement plans do not blow up. They erode. People claim Social Security early to reduce stress. They lock in healthcare choices too soon. They commit to spending levels that feel comfortable at first, and they react to market volatility. None of those look catastrophic, but together they reduce flexibility. Years later, people feel boxed in, and that feeling is what makes retirement stressful. What does it mean to survive your first 5 years? Surviving does not mean living poorly. It means protecting optionality. It means letting spending settle before locking it in, using bridge money instead of permanent income, allowing markets time to behave, gathering information about healthcare, and learning how you emotionally handle retirement. Those first 5 years are a discovery phase. The mistake is treating them like a finish line. And this gets easier. After the first 5 years, several things happen. Your spending stabilizes, healthcare becomes predictable, market volatility feels familiar, and your income sources solidify. Retirement stops feeling new. It starts feeling normal. And that is why these years matter so much. If you are in or approaching early retirement, your job right now is not to protect your plan. Your job is to avoid locking in mistakes while you're still learning what retirement really is. The first 5 years are about preserving room to move. Room to move is what keeps plans alive. When researchers looked at retirement failures, they don't see people suddenly running out of money. They see people adjusting behavior in response to stress. A well-known study from Morningstar showed that retirees who reduced their spending sharply during early downturns often ended up worse off than those who stayed steady. Why? Because they locked in their losses and they never fully recovered. Another study by Vanguard found that retirees who made large allocation changes during their first market shock had much lower long-term balances. The problem was not the market. It was their reaction. Those reactions almost always happen early. People love to model retirement with average returns. Markets do not deliver averages. They deliver sequences. A retiree who faces a 20% drop in their first 2 years experiences a very different outcome than someone who faces it in year 10. And this is why the first 5 years matter. They set the trajectory. And then there's healthcare as a multiplier. Healthcare costs don't just add expense, they change behavior. People become afraid to spend, they avoid care, and they delay treatment. That stress is highest when retirees are new and uncertain. A larger income floor reduces that fear. A smaller one magnifies it. And this connects directly to Social Security timing from video number 2. Now let's talk about the role of bridge assets. Bridge assets are not there to maximize returns. They are there to buy time. Time to let markets recover, let spending stabilize, let healthcare become predictable, and let emotions settle. Using bridge money early protects permanent income later, and that is how flexibility survives. So why do many people feel more anxious after retiring? This surprises people because they expect relief. What they often feel is responsibility. No employer, no paycheck, and no safety net. That emotional shift peaks in the first few years, and it fades later. If you design your plan for the long term without accounting for this phase, behavior will undo it. Now, none of this means that early retirement is flawed. It means it must be navigated with awareness. The first 5 years are the proving ground. And once you get through them with flexibility and tact, everything becomes easier. So you don't need a perfect plan. You need one that allows you to learn without locking in mistakes. That is what gets people through the danger zone. In the next video, we're going to talk about one of the most underrated risks in early retirement: spending categories that quietly explode after work ends. This is a series about making sure that your early retirement doesn't quietly break. So if you want to stay ahead of the mistakes most people make, subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for watching today, and I'll see you in the next video.